company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with American Eagle.
FM 1019, FM 100.5, wgnsradio.com. The Good Neighbor Network.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning on Lincoln's Day birthday. You know, I go way back where we celebrated both Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday separately, which meant we were out of school 2 days in February and not just one on President's Day, although I think they're calling Washington's birthday back to President's Day. I'm not quite sure, but I am honoring Lincoln on his birthday, February 12th. Welcome to the WGNS Radio Roundtable, and we have with us two extraordinarily interesting, very delightful people. A gentleman who I'm going to introduce is one of my most outstanding students nearly 20 years ago at Tennessee State University, Mr. Victor Lay. Victor is the town administrator of our neighbor down the street, Nolensville, and Victor brought with him his public information officer, Katie White. And before we go the normal introductions, Victor, I want you to raise the question about Katie. You know, Nolensville is a beautiful community. Communities are beauty in trees and in scenery and in architectural design. But a community is beautiful because of its people. Tell us about Katie.
So
and Katie can tell us about Katie.
We'll let Katie talk about herself and her background. But I'll say this: Katie came to us initially about 4 years ago, something like 2021,
right after COVID,
and we were looking for a public information officer. We had gone through several applications. I happened to be out of the office, and I had tasked several of my department heads to continue the process and look through applications, try to talk to ones. And for whatever reason, I was out on a day that they initially interviewed Katie Lester at the time. She's married now. And when I got back in, 100% of my department heads were like, "Oh, we just found her. We just found who it's going to be." And I said, "Well, who is it? Tell me about it." And so they began to tell me about all the qualities and how well she had done in their interview. And so I was very excited to meet with her. And so I did. We ended up hiring her, lost her for about a year and a half back to the private sector. But about a year ago, we were able to get Katie back. And we are very happy to have her. She's done a marvelous job as our public information officer, and is getting better all the time, just increasing her knowledge and breadth and capability. But she's got a greatly,
Delightful story.
very good, interesting background, and so I'll let
you
Katie.
share that. Born in West Virginia, but go from there.
Yes, well, actually, I was born in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
So I'm a Pennsylvania girl, but we
Okay.
moved to West Virginia, I think, when I was 9 months old, and
Your
moved to Tennessee.
grandfather was a coal miner.
Yes, I'm a family of coal miners. My grandfather and my uncle, all from West Virginia, and then moved to Tennessee in 2019 in August, right before COVID, and moved here with my now husband for him to go to MTSU. And back in my West Virginia days, we were just talking before, I was Miss West Virginia, All-Star
Wow,
United States.
wow.
So I do have
Now,
a
did that
background in
influence
pageants.
your department, people?
I
You tell the truth, Victor.
Well, I will say pageants prepare you for public speaking.
Oh, it
so it's
would.
very
Yeah.
beneficial. I always recommend anyone that's
What was that
interested in.
movie about the little girl participating in a beauty contest, and the family drove her out to the West Coast to participate? Oh, somebody help me! It's the cutest movie. A little girl. The grandmother apparently went along with them, but passed away during the trip. But they
Little
carried her on
Miss
top of the
That's what I was
station
thinking.
wagon.
Little
Was
Miss
it
Sunshine.
Little
Little
Miss
Miss Sunshine. Now you made my morning. So you weren't a Little Miss Sunshine,
No, I wasn't.
but you learned to talk. You learned to present yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, I recommend anyone who's interested in pageants to get the experience. You learn about public speaking, talking about different topics. And so it's very
And
good-
knowing
good time.
how to motivate and interest the people listening and watching you.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a great command of the English language, great voice, but on the other hand, you have to be able to connect. And that
Absolutely.
taught you, experienced you to connect. And I think that is so important. I have to mention this. My oldest son is a public information officer, city of San Bernardino
Oh, wow.
in California.
That's wonderful.
The problem with San Bernardino, every week is a major crisis. I mean, a major crisis.
Absolutely.
So he's had to primarily be crisis management
Mm-hmm.
as a PIO rather than all the positive things about his city.
Mm-hmm.
So you went and competed and came Miss West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And then where did you go from there on the pageant route?
Well, with mine, my platform was for the Alzheimer's Association. Both of my grandfathers
wow.
passed from Alzheimer's. So that's an organization I hold very close to my heart. And
Exactly.
was always out meeting with different children, going to storybook times, just volunteering is very important to me. And so I competed, excuse me, in a Savannah, Georgia for Miss All-Star United States. And I came back with third runner-up and Miss Congeniality.
Great. I love the miscongeniality. I just think, if we all could be defined as congenial, I think it would be easy. I love words, and we had last week, we do every quarter, two merchants from downtown Murfreesboro, and one talked about his business place, and he said it was from the 1920s, a speakeasy. And I thought, speakeasy, I wonder how many younger people today knew what the term speakeasy meant, was an underground facility doing prohibition, that they would have liquor. I thought, wouldn't that be a neat term today if we all could speak easy? Would a conflict be somewhat resolved and we all committed to speak easy? Now, you were just sharing off mic a moment ago that one of your people that you're hanging out with is...
Shandy Higgins, she's Miss USA 2002 and was first runner-up at Miss Universe. Gotten to know her through our Little Miss Buttercup pageants that we're going to be holding our Buttercup Festival here May 2nd.
Wow. So what's the age for Little Miss Buttercup?
In the past, we've had just 2 pageants, but we're expanding this year to 5 different categories, and that will range from 4 to 24.
Wow.
So we're going to really, change it up this year. I'm going to give, more girls opportunities to participate in the pageant here in our hometown of Nolensville.
I have to ask this, you generate my interest tremendously. I'm not sure I would call a 24-year-old a buttercup. I might get slapped. Oh, you're a sweet Miss Buttercup. Quack, quack, quack. Let's get to Victor. And you've been with the beautiful town of Nolensville going almost on 6 years.
Well, actually, just crossed 5 years.
Classified, well, then you're going on.
Going on 6, yeah, I guess
6.
technically going on 6.
And
yeah.
before that, you were at Spring Hill.
That's correct.
And before that, you were at Waynesboro.
That's
if my
correct.
memory serves me right.
Yep.
And I guess the first question would be, how did Nolensville come through? I call it Storm 26.
So this Ice-mageddon that we had.
I love that better. We got two new words.
Two new words. As far as overall, I think the city came through pretty well. We had our maintenance crews had really staged and were ready to get after the roads as soon as the snow started falling initially. And then they were constantly plowing roads to the best they can. So our roads, as far as our main roads and our primary routes, even through some subdivisions, we had those in pretty decent shape. When the ice came and the limbs began to break, only a couple of our older neighborhoods really got impacted severely.
And the trees were older.
The trees were older, more mature,
Sure.
and so they were bigger, so
More
it was more
branches
stuff to
crack.
break. You drive around some of the newer neighborhoods, their trees are much smaller, so the limb damage was much, much less. There'll be a lot of cleanup. As I was driving actually through one of the neighborhoods yesterday, there were some places where lots of yards that didn't have anything, and then the next yard over, an entire tree would have been cut up and sitting on the curb. So lots of damage in those older neighborhoods. But overall, I think that the town fared pretty well. Other towns, maybe a little west of us, certainly seemed like they were impacted a lot worse than we
And
were.
of course, there's Nashville with an ES.
Correct. And I think we are Middle Tennessee Electric in Nolensville.
Right. And from my experience with them in Brentwood, they were doing marvelous.
They were doing a marvelous job.
Did you have any power outages of any nature?
There were some folks that were out for a day, maybe there might have been a couple days, but most of those were restored pretty quickly,
Yes.
from what I've been told.
Excellent. Give us an overview of Nolensville. Do you realize you were one of the first guests I've had on the round table? And look back in the calendar, you were visiting us February 2022.
Oh,
It was kind of looking back at the file, and I thought, wow. So 4 years later, which is you were just a year into your administrative leadership of the town, give us an overview of Nolensville today. It's certainly very proud of its past and very confident of its future. But population about 17,000, growth, retention, quality, community life, the environment, etc.
So we'll start with just I'll call it the community, the feel of Nolensville. It's really a very interesting community because even at a population of about 17,000, you feel like it is a small town.
Yes.
And I think what I believe is the driver of that feeling is the fact that we only have one high school that serves that entire population. And so people really rally around that high school. And their homecoming parade is like none other than I've ever experienced anywhere. The people that come out and tailgate the route for the homecoming parade is just amazing. But I think that becomes the center focal point. And
What's the name of the high school?
It is Nolensville High School.
Oh, it's relatively new.
And it's just been there
4 or 5 years?
6
Oh,
years,
it's
I
been
think.
long. I remember it under construction.
And Nolensville Knights, it's there as their moniker. So people really rally around that. As part of that, the community itself really kind of feels like a small town. And the development style that the Board of Commissioners have worked to put into place almost gives you, or at least what they want to develop, is to develop that community atmosphere to where you can walk down a sidewalk and enjoy the shops. We were talking about the newest development down there, which is our Village Green.
Right.
It has the Publix on the interior side, and it is wrapped with a ring of shops that
So the
flank
ring
edge
of
the road.
shops on Nolensville Road, as well as was a Rocky
Fork.
Rocky Fork, they enhance the position of the small town with stores on the street side.
Absolutely,
And it really, really is exciting.
when you look at the overall plan and that particular intersection of
Yes.
Nolensville Road and Rocky Fork Road, if you look at what the desire is for the community, for all four corners. Of course, one corner is the cemetery, so it's not going to change.
Well, it's a dead center of town.
Yeah, that it
People
is.
are dying to
People
go
are dying
there.
to go there.
Yeah, sorry about that. That's bad.
That corner, that section of the corner is not going to change. However, the other corners, one of them already was built out to where the shops were right against the edge of the road, and you felt like it was like an old downtown district.
Sure.
And so that's the kind of the idea behind the Village Green is they're trying to recreate that feeling. The other side of the corner, which would be on the southwest side of the intersection, ultimately when that builds out, it'll be something similar as far as that kind of that feel where the
And
buildings
you have
are
the
pulled
fire
up.
station.
There is a county fire station that's down there that is kind of catty-cornered off of it. Right now, that's the county's property, and they can do with it however. It's not part of the development. Just a little south of there, we have what's called the Town Square development that is being built, and there the commercial doesn't flank up against Nolensville Road. There's actually some residential that comes right up close to Nolensville Road, but on the interior of it, it'll have a town square where you'll have live-work units that flank a square, and then below that is yet another development where it'll have some apartments, but it also has that same. It's trying to derive that same small town feel.
Sure, absolutely. I neglected to mention when we talked about that community spirit. It's funny that major events that occur and then you forget about them. World Little League. I mean, my gosh, talk about Nolensville being in the world headlines. What was that, 3 years ago?
Well, we've had 3 years in a row where the team has competed. 1 year where they won it, and then 2 more years where they've gone and been either the second team. Where they didn't win the actual series, but they were
close enough.
They were close enough. So
not really enough, but close to the winning.
They were as close as you can get without winning.
So that probably also generated this community loyalty, emphasis.
There certainly is a lot of affinity toward that, but it's not just the baseball that does that.
Sure.
The talent that has come through the high school. We just did a recognition at our last Board of Commissioners meeting to the middle, let's see, how's it? The
Mill Creek Middle Theater.
Mill Creek Middle Theater. And so it's middle school theater club.
Okay.
They competed at what would be the Super Bowl of theater competition
sure.
And came in third overall. Is that right?
They walked away with 5 recognitions.
Wow.
I think they competed against, I forget, a lot of,
there were
141.
Really? Nationwide?
And yes. Mm-hmm.
Right,
and
over 7,000 participants, 141 different organizations, 8 countries.
Yes.
Wow.
And 9 were selected to compete on stage, and Mill Creek was one of them.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow.
And one of the persons was actually voted as one of the students was voted as the.
They had best in solo, best tech, and there was another one.
And I should have had those
Right.
in front of me.
No. You're certainly creating the mood and the impression.
But the thing is that that's not even looking at that and that, of course, that wasn't sports related, but just the sheer talent that has come out of the town has been phenomenal, and it seems like every other month we're recognizing some student or students from the school system that have just excelled in a number of things. We have the #1 cross country runner in the school system that now holds the state record for girls cross country.
Is it the air? The water? What is doing
Sounds good.
Whatever it is, it's working.
It's working. I have to commend you. I can commend you in so many pages, Victor. But you are one of the, and I may be wrong, but you're one of the few city managers, town managers in the United States who came to the job strictly as an engineering background rather than a human resource or a public administration per se. You got your graduate degree in public administration, but in terms, you are so successful and able to balance between the physical structure of a community, you know, the streets, the water, the sewer, the off-sites, etc., with a human element. And that combination is rare, but it is certainly paid off, I think, not only in Nolensville, but the last two communities you managed.
Well, I appreciate that. I think that background has really benefited me just in working again with the infrastructure. I think I've told you once before on I'll call it the human side of things,
right,
of dealing with people, and being a city manager or town manager is very much a relationship business, whether that's with the council, whether it's with employees or the residents of the town. But I credit my dad for that. He was an elected official in Wayne County, where I grew
was
up.
he? Yeah, what position?
He was the property assessor for 16 years.
That can be highly controversial.
Absolutely, can be highly
We don't want to
controversial.
talk about Rutherford County quite yet.
But he had a way of being able to talk to people to where even if it were not the news that they wanted, that they fully respected him for being, number one, completely honest, completely transparent with how that information is being delivered, and completely open and honest about the information.
Yes.
And so when he passed, I was amazed at the number of people that I had no idea who they were, but they came to the wake and said, "Hey, you know what? Your dad did this for me," or he didn't have to, but he called me and told me X and helped me through a situation. And so I think that part of my personality definitely came from watching him and listening to him. And
well, what's really impressive, and this is not just a Victor Lay honoring program, but I have to honor, is that your academic background way back, your initial, when you began Chicago, as I remember, in public works or in engineering.
In engineering, yeah.
Engineering. See, I got to trust my memory now and
yeah,
then.
there you go.
And yet most of what your background learned and experienced was everything's black and white. Water runs downhill. Water doesn't run uphill. Traffic moves if traffic is managed. And you had to get into a field that deals with conflict, deals with human behavior, psychology, compromise, coalition building, and so forth. So even your relationship with your past and current city councils, town councils, mayors, elected officials, etc., you have to be able to balance the ability to listen and the ability to offer viable alternatives. You know, it was once said, and I always have practiced this, remember this, that a city council will look at things with a 4-year life or less. A city manager looks at things with a 20-year life, and how is it going to be funded, or how it's going to survive, or how it's going to serve 20 years. So somewhat coming up with the balance between the short term, the political factor, and the long term, the administrative factor, is a really, really tough world. What's coming up in Nolensville? What are some of the events and activities coming up that you'd like to share, Katie?
Yeah, we're ramping up, getting ready for our event season. So as I mentioned earlier, our historic Nolensville Buttercup Festival is Saturday, May 2nd.
I love the name Buttercup for
I
a
know.
24-year-old. I mean, if I called I have 3 daughters and 1 grandson. They're all in their early 20s. If I called any one of them Buttercup, I'm sorry. Probably get, again, slapped in the face.
Well, we have such an amazing committee of volunteers who have, participated into building and really, creating this festival. And so this year we're expanding more. So as we talked earlier, we're expanding the pageant. We're also introducing Butter Pup, which we're going to have a Facebook and or I believe just Facebook ran campaign trying to win the little Butter Pup of Nolensville.
Wow.
And so we have a lot of vendors come in. nonprofit. So we're still accepting applications if anyone wants to be a vendor of the Buttercup.
How do they approach you on it?
Yeah, they can visit our website at nolensvilletn.gov to
Say
apply.
that one more time.
nolensvilletn.gov to
Perfect.
apply. And they can also visit our social media. More events coming up. We have our Star Spangled
Back
Celebration.
on the other before I forget.
Oh, yeah.
Do they have to be Nolensville residents?
To be a vendor
No, to be a participant.
of the pageant,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, you have to live within
And that's the age
Nolensville.
4 to 24.
Yes, 4 to 24.
Have they ever had, this is going to be a dumb question, but I've got to ask this. Have they ever had a handsome competition? I mean, boys are good looking.
We're always taking recommendations, so never say never. That could be next year's.
Not a buttercup. I don't know if you want to call a 24-year-old guy
Mr.
a
Buttercup.
buttercup. I want to call Mr. Monument or Mr. Statue. Be interesting. So, go on beyond the Buttercup competition.
Yes,
After
so-
May 2nd.
Yes, and then June 27th, we'll have our Star Spangled Celebration.
Wow.
We host it at the high school every year. We have grown and grown each year, so we had to move it to a bigger property, which is now at the high school. Again, we have more vendors coming out this year, and we have our fireworks show, and it's going to be a great time
Is
for
this
community.
will you be special emphasis on 250th?
Yes.
birthday?
So
Yeah.
our town events committee who runs the Star Spangled Celebration, they're actually meeting today, and they've been doing great, amazing things each month, meeting with new ideas, especially celebrating, 250th birthday this year. So
Oh, absolutely.
they want to expand it more and have like a kids zone, kind of like earlier in the day. So it's kind of more of a all evening, all afternoon celebration. So I'm excited for what they have in store and what they want to do. And absolutely, once we have that decision made, we'll absolutely share it on our social media.
Without getting the politics of it in, I promised myself driving over, I was not going to make reference to it, but I'll make reference. I would have hoped last Sunday we would have had a halftime 250th observance of the United States. And I have to say this editorially, that's got to be the worst football game I've watched in many, many years. So when somebody refers to Super Bowl, I think the bowl was half empty.
The last quarter had some excitement.
Oh, it did, but by that time I was half asleep. So you also have, and again, I drive through your community every time I'm heading to Rutherford County. It looks like you have a big veterans observance in the fall.
Absolutely.
And long around Veterans Day and so forth, a parade and what have you. Your town loves parades.
We sure do.
So the local police are on great traffic control. What would you say is the largest single event currently that you have in Nolensville?
I would say our Star Spangled Celebration last year, gosh, I want to say we probably had 10 to 12,000 people there.
Wow.
I mean, it's continuously, people come for a little bit, they may go home because, we're kind of centrally located being at the high school, and, we start the fireworks later in the evening when it gets dark. So it's just pretty much an all-day event that people can come and go, but it's probably our biggest.
Is there a reason why you're a week plus away from 4th of July? You're not on the 4th,
Yeah.
you're on a week before.
Yeah, we understand that, we're competing with Nashville
Sure.
and bigger cities for their fireworks celebration. So we always try to be and it's for everyone to remember, we're always the Saturday before the 4th of July. I understand that 4th of July is on a Saturday this year, but again, competing against Nashville, Brentwood, Franklin with their Star Spangled celebrations, we want to invite as many people as we can to come celebrate in Nolensville.
It's kind of interesting. You triggered off a long-time memory of mine. Many years ago, still in Southern California, when I was managing a rather large community of roughly 100,000, and we had our 4th of July event at the Community College Stadium, and we always had it on the evening before, July 3rd. And 3 things happened as a result of having it the night before. First of all, more people would come because they didn't look at their watch as you're shooting fireworks off and say, I've got to be up at 5 in the morning to go to work tomorrow morning. This way they could sleep in a little bit the morning after the night before. Second, every one of the major television stations in the Los Angeles area would be out to cover our event because it was a pre-event and you'd see the fireworks and so forth. It became great news coverage on California's 11 o'clock news rather than the 10 p.m. news. And they would see the preview of the 4th by doing camera work at our event. And the third thing was the employees loved it because they could still be off 4th of July with family and friends and not have to be at work preparing and implementing the ceremony. So I always thought July 3rd, the evening, is a great, great time to have it.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with you. That's what I did in Waynesboro.
Oh, did you?
I
knew.
When we instituted the first fireworks show, we did our very first one when we did a millennial celebration back on New Year's Eve, 1999.
Wow. That was a bad day. I mean, how many people thought the world was going to...
Yeah, they thought the world was going to end with the Y2K.
I was playing bridge with a group of friends. We always got together once a month, and it happened to be on New Year's Eve. And we're playing bridge, and everybody's watching their watch, not because of, we got to celebrate Happy New Year. No, wondering if the lights would go off.
Exactly.
Wow.
So we did, from that point on, we started doing that celebration went over so well that the Board of Commissioners said, Victor, we've got to do this every year.
Absolutely.
And we said, well, we can't do a New Year's Eve. We just didn't do a New Year's Eve because the weather was impeccable that particular year. So we changed it to the 3rd of July and started doing our fireworks show. And I think they still hold that today.
Wow. And I have to tie in back on fireworks. There was a 4th prolific activity. We always would have skydivers.
Oh.
Wow. And the skydivers, you might actually think about it, they would be flying 10,000 feet over, and they'd land on a 1x1 square in the middle of the field, and you'd get the crowds, hey, welcome them, yell, 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 and so forth. And the crowd really, we would draw about 17,000 at the stadium, and the crowd would get their adrenaline very high. After that occurred, before we got into musical fireworks, we introduced no speeches. The mayor brought out the congressperson. The vice mayor brought out the state senator. One of the council members brought out the county supervisor representing the area. There's somebody else and so forth. So each council member would escort out just to welcome them. And I would say as the MC, give a big welcome to Congressman Torres, and the crowd was still adrenaline high, and they would be roaring. So what happened after that, it was the only time I found out later that all those federal and state elected officials ever had a crowd roar like that to them when they came in. What was the residual? Any time the city would call one of the offices of one of these elected officials, the first question the staff would ask, is Congressman invited to come back next July? That's the most exciting thing. We had more service from our state and federal officials as a result of that honoree. It was a great residual. We'll be back in just a moment. Take a break from those that pay the bills.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
South Central Bank has 2 CD specials that will help your money grow. South Central Bank has a 5-month CD with an annual percentage yield of 4.15% or a 25-month CD with an annual percentage yield of 3.8%. 2 great ways to put your money to work. You choose the term that works best for you. $500 minimum balance to obtain the APY. Stop by any of our convenient South Central Bank locations today and take advantage of our 2 great rates. South Central Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by Old National Bank, the law offices of John Day, and AmeriCare Pest Control.
In today's changing world, you need a financial planner that you're comfortable with. Rely on the bonds that you've built with trusted friends at Old National Bank on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in the borough. And if you just moved here, visit us and enjoy warm, homemade cookies.
Honey, the cookies are ready.
Like Grandma used to make. Old National Bank. We're better together.
2230 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard. Old National Bank, member FDIC.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor Events. The Rutherford County Library System is offering free computer classes. They're available at the library's Technology Engagement Center, TEC, the Tech Center, and they're free. The Tech Center is at 306 Minerva Drive here in Murfreesboro. Greenhouse Ministries exists with volunteers, and you are needed at Greenhouse Ministries. Learn more by attending one of their volunteer orientation sessions. They're every Wednesday afternoon at 2 or Thursday mornings at 10. And if those don't fit your schedule, how about the last Saturday of each month at 9 in the morning? Greenhouse Ministries is at 307 South Academy Street. And the Red Cross is still critically low on blood. Please give the gift of life. Get with the local Red Cross. Oh, don't throw away Old Glory. Bring your tattered American flag to WGNS. And let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
Rutherford weather.
Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Today, with a high of 54. Lows level off around 32. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Right now, 34.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. If you've recently changed your phone number or email, make sure you update your details at mte.com. It's the best way for MTE to reach you quickly with important outage updates.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Well, Krause again on the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. And we're having a delightful visit with Mr. Victor Lay. Victor has been just 5 years, celebrating 5 years as the town manager of Nolensville. Previously, the city manager of Spring Hill and Waynesboro, further west of us. And a young lady who is the public information officer, Katie White, who is now on a return to the town of Nolensville. Let's get into some basic function of the city. Talk about, for example, public safety, police and fire. Didn't the town a few years ago take over the volunteer fire and made it a
full-time fire department?
Right.
That was something when the town changed the charter back in 2020, the fall of 2020. Mm-hmm. One of the things that came out of that and was a strong component in that legislation was that the new group, when they formed the new charter, they would form a full-time fire department. And so as I was coming in right after the new charter was changed, that was they had already hired a fire chief, and I began working with him, and we were able to start the hiring process for the different officers, acquire some city-owned vehicles. We used volunteer equipment for a while, and then we were able to get those things funded. We eventually built our first fire station on the north side of town. Have bought property for a second one, although that second fire station is probably several years away. But we've really laid the groundwork for the planning for the full-time department. We now have, I think, a total of 21, 22 full-time people. That includes a chief and a fire marshal, and then we have around 5 to 6, I guess, firefighters on each shift, 3 shifts. So there's 18 of those.
Now, do you do EMS as well?
We don't do the EMS. That's provided by the county.
Okay.
The
so
county.
When somebody calls 911, they're going to be hooked under the county.
That's correct. And the 911, they dispatch us too. So we participate in the county's system on that. The EMS operates out of the old county building that was where the volunteers operated out, and they actually still stage a piece of volunteer equipment in there, and we not only did we go full time, but we pulled in those volunteers to come work with us, and so we're actually considered a combination department.
Gotcha.
And so the idea being that we can, even though we've got enough people on staff every day to run 2 vehicles. If we get in a situation, we are doing mutual aid and automatic aid with Arrington and some of the other, Brentwood, Franklin, if we need it, and some on these Laverne will occasionally come over if we need them to man something that's much larger than we are.
It's interesting. Most people don't realize that EMS, or in the early days called paramedics, became an afterthought in the city of Seattle. And it was the early 1960s, and the city council was in budget session, and they kept saying, our firefighters, we're paying them to sleep at the fire station. The 72-hour shift, but 48 hours of sleeping, and what have you. We ought to have them do something different. And somebody came out, well, maybe they could kind of also help on first aid and emergency response, just as an adjunct and so forth. Well, I don't know what statistics are today, but a couple of years ago, statistics were 2 out of every 3 emergency calls were for EMS rather than firefighting. And the firefighters became the secondary rather than the EMS becoming the primary. Talk about police, too. And I have to say this initially, and I've got to say, I haven't had that much relationship with your police, but that I've had and have watched, extremely impressive. Talk about the Nolensville Police.
So we have a great police department, also around 23, I think, employees total, including the chief. We really strive for a couple of things. One, we're looking for someone who has the ability, has the desire, obviously. If when we're hiring, they're already certified, then we obviously want to look at how their personality fits within the culture that we're trying to build there. And we're looking for specific ways in which people deal with others. Again, policing's a relationship business.
Absolutely.
And so we're looking for that, because what we find is that even when you, once again, get into those difficult situations, you're going to have somebody that can do the job.
Exactly.
But you can do the job one way, and you can absolutely create a horrid environment, or you can do the job in a little bit different manner, and it's less eventful. And so we try to look for employees, and we have really, I think, done a great job in hiring police officers that know how to relate to people. And we've got police officers from all over. One of our ones was a highway patrol from California.
Oh, really?
A chip.
Okay.
And so she has been a great asset.
It was a family relocation rather than a professional relocation.
She had already relocated to our area and was looking around,
like
and
thousands of Californians,
and just really fit into our culture. But we've had officers in the past from New York that have once again moved down and wanted to still stay in the culture and are still stay in the police officer business, and they come to work for us, and they know how to handle people, and they know how to relate to people. Typically, when you call a police officer, you're having your worst day.
Yes.
And we don't want our police officers to be having their worst day.
Correct.
And
they don't want to collide.
Those don't need to collide. And so we really strive to find those. And I think that has resulted in having a great police department that is effective, that knows their jobs, and that knows how to work with people.
You just reminded me of the first police chief that I ever hired, and I never will forget the two words to describe him. He had the heart for the victim and the head for the criminal. He knew how to had the feeling and sensitivity, not such a total point of holding his hands and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry," what have you. But he had the genuine heart for the victim, but he had the mind for dealing with the crime. And great combination. You take a look at public works. And, we always take public works for granted, residents do. Traffic signal coordination. I think you made a change on the signal coordination on Nolensville Road and Rocky Road. I would normally come through there, nice green time frame, nice segment on the yellow and red and so forth. I think you made it now more favorable to Nolensville Road traffic.
Well, we have tried
Which
to...
Which is fine. It's not a complaint.
We have tried to balance that.
Okay.
Because honestly, if it gets too long one way or the other, we end up getting complaints on that.
Absolutely.
And so we use either Stansel Electric or S&W will come in and they'll reset the timings of our signals. We also try to have a little bit of coordination between the north-south, so that if you're coming in from the south side, we'll say, and you cross the signal at York, then you got a next signals at Summerlin, and then the next signals at Rocky Fork. And so we try to have a little bit of coordination for that. We're going to be adding another signal within the next 4 to 5 months up at Kidd Road.
Okay.
And that's going to be something that is probably, it's a long time coming. And we had kind of been waiting a little bit on TDOT to see what they were going to do, if they were going to rebuild a bridge that's immediately south of there, because it's a state highway.
Sure.
Ultimately, we think that project's going to take a lot longer. This needs to happen, so we're going to put in a temporary signal there. We've already awarded it to a company, and they will get it built again over the next 4 months or so. The one thing that won't happen is ultimately what needs to be put there is a southbound to eastbound left turn lane on Nolensville Road.
Yes.
Because TDOT hasn't developed their widening program just yet, that piece is not going to happen. But we'll hopefully have staged it and make it much safer for everyone until that happens.
I hate to catch you off guard on this one, but I'm sure this is in the back of your mind. When we've had Laverne City family here on the air, and Rutherford County Schools, Director of Schools, Jimmy Sullivan on the air, talking about the potential of 6,000 homes just north of you, which Rutherford County Schools takes a look and says, do we have the bonding capacity to provide the ample elementary, middle school, and high schools for a community that size? I think being on your northern side, and you get 6,000 new homes, not necessarily next year, but in a relatively predictive period of time. Are you prepared for a big neighbor to your north?
Well, we know that it's coming.
Okay.
In fact, we were actually not looking at Smyrna or at Laverne, but we were watching what was going on in Nashville, which borders us to the north.
Correct.
And actually, right there along Kidd Road, Nashville is looking at having some, or Davidson County is looking at having some significant developments that are happening immediately on the other side of our town limits.
Wow.
That affect Kidd Road. And so there will have to be a larger discussion because Kidd Road is partly inside Nolensville. It's partly controlled by Williamson County Highway Department. It's partly in Davidson County. and then partly in Rutherford County. And so we will have to have some type of coordination between all four entities to say, what is this road going to look like in the future as this entire area builds out? The town has about 1,200 homes that are going to be going on the town's side between Southern Lands Development and Beezer's Development. And then you'll have whatever it ultimately is on the Davidson County side, and then northwest of us from the Rutherford County and Laverne side.
We'll be right back, but when we come back, Katie, I want you to kind of give an overview. Other activities, recreational, all ages, not just the kiddies and the buttercups and the buttermen or whatever it may be, but the seniors, the middle, the family events, and so forth. So stand by.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
Lace up your best kicks for a night of impact benefiting First Shot. Join us for the annual Sneaker Ball presented by Venture Express. Spend Sunday, April 26th with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. The event kicks off at 6 with a VIP meet and greet at 5. Reserve your table today. Call Coach Andy Herzer at 615-631-5312. We'll see you at the Sneaker Ball benefiting First Shot on April 26th.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris. I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate them. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem's not going away.
The Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Bill Krause, one more time. Let's go back to Katie White, the Public Information Officer. And Katie, some of the other highlights which also contribute to what Victor said earlier in the program. What has made Nolensville a wonderful town to live in?
Absolutely. One of the things I'd like to recognize is we have a 20-acre park that we're developing. So we've been running a campaign with our citizens because we want to hear their voices of what they want this park to be called. So we started that in January, had residents submit multiple names that they would like that property. We took all those names, ran a voting round. We just concluded that on Monday. Within the voting round, we had 473, I believe, citizens vote for park names among, I want to say 130, I think we had almost 160 names, I believe, were submitted. So we've had a great response from our citizens. So within that property, we're going to have a pickleball and tennis courts, basketball court, multi-purpose field, parking, walking trail around its perimeter, and a restroom building. So that's something that's really important that's going on in Nolensville as far as our greenway space.
Greystone Park?
Greystone Park, yes. We had a donation from Mill Creek Brewing Company. They donated, I believe it was $10,000.
Right, for Gregory Park.
For Gregory Park, I'm sorry. And so we have cornholes, checkerboards, a lot of
some of those. Do you remember the old roadside picnic tables?
Oh, sure. Right. Oh, yes.
So we didn't use those. We used some upgraded things.
Oh, yeah, not the old wood that was rotting.
But they were heavy concrete because it's in kind of in a flood area.
Right.
Anyway, we've got a really nice, serene, picturesque place that we've put a couple of these picnic tables. They actually have embedded game boards in them.
Great.
They're handicap accessible. We also have, as she mentioned, the cornhole, fixed cornhole things, just to give somebody an opportunity if they want to come and just kind of hang out for a couple of hours down beside the creek.
Absolutely.
There's a bench. You have access to the creek in the summertime, and it's just a nice little shaded, serene place that folks can go in and gather that's out of the way. And it's a really neat place to visit. We've got a walking trail that kind of goes around it. In fact, it's got a lot of artwork on it from one of the art projects that the town has allowed to happen from the organizations. And then the Greystone Park is one that we actually acquired from it was a defunct HOA property.
Oh, really?
About 3 acres in the middle of a neighborhood. Had an old tennis court and a rundown pool. The bridge was dilapidated and fallen in. And what we've done right now is we filled in the pool area. That was actually just a dangerous area. So we filled that in. We just have taken bids on removing the tennis courts and the old pool house that had bathrooms in it. We're going to level all of that, really green everything up, and make it into a big passive area.
Wow.
But one of the neatest things that happened was, as part of that widening of Nolensville Road that's north of us, there was a contractor who was removing a big pedestrian bridge. And we'd been looking at what was it going to take to try to get an ADA pedestrian bridge.
Yes.
And so we reached out to that contractor. Our engineer knew him personally, and so was like, yeah, I'll just give him a call. Reached out to the contractor and got a phenomenal deal on this very nice iron bridge with concrete decking that's 8 foot wide by 50 feet long and is now ADA accessible all the way across. And we've got all that put in. And we're going to have a nice space for folks who can just come out and enjoy some passive green space. So that's one of the other great things coming up. And then in addition to those, you had mentioned schools earlier.
Yes.
And in the developments that we have on the north side, Southern Land and Beezer, one of the things that we required from those developments was that they set aside property for the next school and for the next park. And so in part of their developments, the properties join each other, and there is roughly 25 acres between the two. So we're setting aside property for an elementary school and a big park right beside it.
And is the compatibility of the two interchangeable?
Absolutely.
That the school can use part of
the school
park?
can use part of the park,
and the park. I don't know if the park can
won't
use
be
part
using
of the school.
using the school
But
necessarily.
the school using during school time.
But they have access to those things, and so it is. The city, I think, has done a really good job in trying to plan for the future. We don't operate any of those parks other than a little bit there at Gregory Park. We'll start whatever the name is for this park that's going to be on Sunset Road. That will be our first to really officially operate.
Almost would seem, you hate to say this, you love to name facilities after people who have contributed, but if you hit a large corporation that was going to underwrite the whole development of the park, and suddenly, do you give them naming rights as a result of contributing $5 million to the park?
Very interesting you said that. The park is possible. We bought the land outright. We paid for it. It cost us $1.9 million for the land. And then we got a grant to build the park for $1.2 million, and we get to use the value of the property as our match portion for this grant.
Great.
So we're getting roughly $2.4 million worth of value of being built because we bought this property.
Fantastic.
And what's really interesting is that one of the names submitted was Grant Park as an acronym for what?
Oh, gosh.
Not Ulysses S. Grant.
No, it wasn't. Ulysses S. Grant.
I could be misspeaking, but I'm pretty sure from memory it was Green Recreational Acreage, Nolensville, Tennessee.
Wow.
It was very interesting.
Sure.
And looking through all the submissions, there was names that I would have never thought of that. I learned a lot of history about Nolensville.
Yes.
seeing these submissions come through. So it was a very interesting project to be a part of, and I'm very excited for the names to come out. So at our next work session, our Board of Commissioners will be presented with all of the names that were submitted. Of course, they've been reviewing them, but what our citizens want, what they voted on, and what our Trails, Arts, Parks, and Streetscapes Advisory Committee, what they recommended as well. We really wanted to get their opinion in this park project, and so then they will vote by resolution at our next commission meeting in March.
And the one thing you learn, you never name a public facility after a person still alive. That happened in a city in Southern California. There was I think the first mayor of the particular city in honor, and he was still alive, and he was later arrested, convicted, and the city had to go chiseled out the naming throughout the park of this individual and rename it. So the first lesson is never name it after somebody who you might have some damage with later.
That's right.
Give us an overview of the community in terms of, are you a young community, family community? Do you have apartments? Or are you basically single families?
Right now we're pretty much single family and townhome.
Okay.
There aren't really any apartments per se. However, in the new zoning that we put in as part of just the overall planning, there was one section of town that they are allowing a small amount of apartments. And so in that town square development, they had some. I think, though, they may be coming back to us and asking to pull out the apartments and just put in townhomes. But even in the development that's just south of them, what we call the Darcy development, which is right on the verge of getting their permits to break ground, they've got a couple hundred apartments inside there. And that will be, well, it won't be, it won't look like what you would think a big apartment complex. It'll be much more defined and smaller buildings and things like that. But that will be really our only section of apartments.
Well, I ask that because next week the mayor and one of the members of town council of Smyrna will be our guests. And of course, Smyrna in recent years has built some massive apartment developments, in fact, underway right next door to Motlow State. So the query is the nature of the community. I'm assuming you're a young community. Your demographics relatively young.
I think in general it is. I'm not sure what the mix is right now, but in the last time the census came in, it did show us as a fairly young population. From what I see, there are a little bit of the moms and dads, actually the grandmoms and dads coming in, because the grandkids have now moved in, and so now they want to be somewhere close. So it's beginning to mix a little bit. We noticed that in Spring Hill, that back in the 2009, it was a very young community, and then over the next 10, 15 years, the grandparents came in because they wanted to be close to those grandbabies.
And that's a total reverse of what it used to be. The person lived in the home for 40, 45 years. Either one spouse passed, or they moved to Florida, or they moved to a smaller facility, and the neighborhoods would demographically change in age from 40-year residents to a brand new residents.
Right.
This is a reverse.
It's a kind of a reversal.
You may have just touched upon something. See, one thing that I thoroughly enjoy about WGNS radio, it gets my mind generating. Are we seeing more and more grandparents move back into homes as part of the family? Not as paid babysitters, but part of the family for housing costs?
Actually, I think that you are. One of the things that you'll see changes in zoning codes are what we call accessory dwellings. And so it's that you heard that term, the mother-in-law suite,
or granny suites, what we call them in California. Yeah,
is the ability to do that. We're even looking at that very thing as one of the options inside Nolensville. It up to this point has never been an option, but now we're looking at adding that into the code because that's actually a market demand.
Sure.
And trying to add that extra little component to where, They don't want to afford. They don't want to continue to stay in their own specific house.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be somewhere closer to family. May not want them in the house with you.
Right.
But let's have an accessory dwelling in the backyard.
But you know what happened to that in California? Weirdest thing happened. You know, that's a great thing about local government, more local government than state and federal. Just when you think you have answers, they turn totally 180 degrees. The granny house ordinances were passed by many, many cities in order to achieve just how you spelled it out, Victor. What happened was parents, young parents, divorce. Daughter and children moved back home with parents, and the granny house became the home for the returning child and grandchildren. And it became really a affordable shelter, and that became its mass use. And the city councils had to raise the question, is that really your objective? And the logic was, if you're providing family shelter, it doesn't matter which end of the spectrum you're on, whether it's the parent or whether it's a child coming home.
Well, so many of our young families are having to move away from the area because they simply can't afford it starting out.
Exactly. This has been most enjoyable.
Thank you for having us.
I think Nolensville is in great hands. Next time you come, if you want to bring mayor, council member, police chief, and so forth, but we certainly always welcome back Katie. I think Katie is not only the beauty of Nolensville, the honorary Miss Nolensville, but more so the personality she sparks. Her job, she has exactly what it takes to be a great PIO, and I see a long future. And
Thank
Victor, you know, you certainly, in my judgment, not as a former city manager, but my judgment as somebody who's observed and been involved in the local government for many years, you are the poster boy. I shouldn't probably say boy, but you're the poster man for a local government leader, administrative leader. And keep up that great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Best wishes to Nolensville, and may you have many little pea pods come through your contest. Bye now.
Subscribe to Big G TV, local content that matters to Rutherford County.